They always said you couldn't break the bond between twins. But in the Miller house, that bond was shattered in a single blood-soaked night, a night so disturbing it would haunt an entire town for years to come. It was supposed to be a quiet weekend. 17-year-old Ethan and Emily Miller had just finished their final exams. The family planned a small celebration at home, balloons, pizza, laughter echoing through the halls. But by midnight, the house was a crime scene. Police lights flashed across the Millers' manicured lawn. Neighbors gathered in bathrobes behind yellow tape, and two parents stood in the driveway, unable to speak. Emily was found in her bedroom, lifeless, eyes wide in terror. The word betrayed was written in lipstick across her mirror. Ethan, her twin brother, was nowhere to be found. Detectives entered the room to a scene that made even seasoned officers pause. There were no signs of forced entry, no broken windows. Just Emily's body, a single rose clutched in her hand, and a locked phone buzzing endlessly with notifications she'd never read. Under her pillow, police found a crumpled piece of paper. "You said we'd never leave each other. Why did you lie?" As the investigation unfolded, the truth seemed more impossible with every answer. The twins had always been inseparable, best friends, top of their class, partners in every childhood crime and secret. But now, everything was in question. Was this a random act of violence? A stranger in the night? Or had something inside this picture-perfect family finally snapped? The search for Ethan began immediately. His bedroom was empty except for a single shoe and a photo of him and Emily at age 7, arms around each other, smiles frozen in time. Detectives scoured the house for clues, piecing together a story of love, rivalry, and secrets that only siblings could keep. And as news spread, the town's speculation exploded. Some whispered about a suicide pact gone wrong. Others said Ethan had been jealous of Emily's success or that he'd fallen in with the wrong crowd. But only the evidence would reveal the truth, and the truth was far darker than anyone could imagine. If you think you know how this story ends, think again. In the next hour, you'll see what really happened inside the Miller home. The evidence, the betrayals, the moment where everything went horribly, irreversibly wrong. Subscribe now so you don't miss the next shocking twist, and tell us in the comments, what do you think betrayed really means? But as dawn broke and detectives searched Ethan's room one last time, they found something that would change the entire direction of the case. A secret drawer left half open, revealing a hidden diary with the first page torn out. And on that missing page, in Emily's handwriting, a single word was left behind in red ink: run. The discovery of Emily's hidden diary sent shockwaves through the investigation. Detectives gathered around the secret drawer, hands gloved, hearts racing. Every page inside was dense with scribbles, memories, sketches, coded notes. But the first page, the one torn out, seemed to haunt the room. Why was it missing? And why had Emily written run in blood-red ink? The Miller parents, Tom and Lisa, sat together on the living room couch, shivering under a thin blanket as dawn crept through the windows. Lisa's hands trembled as she spoke. Emily always kept a diary, but she never let anyone read it, not even me. She said it was for her and Ethan. Tom stared at the floor, silent. The weight of suspicion had already begun to settle in. Investigators began to piece together the twins' lives, starting with their childhood. Old home videos revealed what everyone in town already knew. Ethan and Emily were inseparable, almost to the point of obsession. Their birthdays, school projects, even their quirks seemed perfectly matched. But as the twins grew, so did their differences. Teachers described Emily as bright, confident, and endlessly curious. Ethan, on the other hand, had become withdrawn over the last year, prone to angry outbursts, skipping classes, and shutting himself away from friends. Neighbors remembered late-night arguments behind closed doors and the sound of glass breaking from the twins' upstairs bedroom. The more detectives asked, the more they heard stories of secret rivalries. Emily had just won a national science prize. Her name splashed across the local paper. Ethan, once the star of the family, had been quietly struggling, his grades slipping, his place on the soccer team lost. Their parents insisted nothing was wrong, but the cracks were impossible to hide. That afternoon, the police found something else. Ethan's laptop, hastily shoved under his bed and left unlocked. On it, dozens of late-night messages with an anonymous user, the tone growing more desperate with each day leading up to Emily's death. "You promised me it would be different. I can't stand being second anymore. What if she takes everything from me?" The final message, sent just hours before the murder, simply read, "Tonight, it ends. I'll do what you said." But who was Ethan talking to, and what was he planning to end? As police pressed Lisa for answers, she hesitated. Then she revealed something she'd never told anyone, not even Tom. The previous summer, Emily had come to her in tears, begging her to keep a secret. "I think Ethan's following me. I think he's mad that I won." Lisa brushed it off as sibling rivalry. Now every word came back like a knife to the chest. The investigation turned darker as detectives tore apart Ethan's room. Hidden behind a false wall in his closet, they found a letter addressed to "Whoever finds this." Inside, Ethan confessed to feeling invisible, tormented by the pressure to keep up with his perfect sister. But the letter ended with a chilling sentence. "If you're reading this, I'm already gone. But look closer. Emily isn't who you think she was." As the sun set on the longest day the Miller family had ever lived, police were left with more questions than answers. Was Ethan a jealous brother driven to the edge? Or was he running from something far more dangerous inside his own family? And as detectives prepared to expand their search beyond the Miller home, Lisa's phone buzzed with a new message from an unknown number. "She lied to you. Check the garden." Lisa's hands shook as she showed the message to the detectives. "She lied to you. Check the garden." Within minutes, police swarmed the Miller backyard. The sun was setting, casting long, eerie shadows across the flower beds. For years, the garden had been Emily's sanctuary, a place where she and Ethan played as children, chasing fireflies and building secret forts. Now it felt cold, the silence broken only by the rustle of police searching for evidence. Near the back fence, beneath a rose bush, an officer's gloved hand brushed against something hard and flat. It was a small wooden box wrapped in a torn piece of Emily's old soccer jersey. Inside were 3 items: a USB drive, a photograph of Emily and Ethan as toddlers, faces covered in red X's, and a locket engraved with the words "Forever Twins." The USB was rushed inside and loaded onto a police laptop. Its contents shocked everyone in the room. First, a series of video files, home movies, birthday parties, innocent childhood moments. But halfway through, the tone changed. Secret recordings appeared. Angry arguments between the twins, Ethan's voice cracking with rage, Emily crying and pleading with him to stop. One file was different, a video, dated just days before Emily's death. The camera shook as if hidden in a pocket. Emily whispered into the lens, her face pale and frightened. "If anything happens to me, please look at Ethan. I love my brother, but he's changed. He says he has secrets too. I'm scared." The room fell silent as the video ended. For the first time, Lisa sobbed openly, Tom staring blankly at the wall. "How could we not have known?" he muttered. Police questioned Emily's friends, desperate for answers. One, a close friend named Jamie, finally broke down. "Emily told me Ethan had started talking to someone online. She said he was different lately. He talked about voices, about someone telling him to finish what they started. She thought he was losing his mind." Detectives dug deeper into Ethan's online activity. The anonymous user he'd messaged was more sinister than they feared, a profile linked to several forums about dark pacts and twin rituals. Police realized Ethan hadn't acted alone. He'd been groomed and manipulated, convinced by an online figure that Emily had to be punished for some imagined betrayal. Then another discovery. The garden's soil had been recently disturbed in a second spot near the old treehouse. Digging there, police found a sealed envelope, this one addressed to both parents. Inside, Ethan's shaky handwriting confessed to everything, but with a twist. "I'm sorry, I couldn't stop it. The voices wouldn't let me. If you love Emily, please forgive me, please." But as police read the letter, another call came in. A security camera from a gas station on the edge of town had captured Ethan, alone, pale and frantic, boarding a late-night bus to a city 3 hours away. The case had just shifted from a murder investigation to a desperate manhunt. As the night deepened and police raced to track Ethan's movements, one chilling fact remained. No one knew who the online accomplice was. And as detectives replayed Emily's last video, they heard a faint, menacing whisper behind her voice. "You promised." The search for Ethan Miller grew frantic as dawn bled into the following day. Detectives traced his path through bus terminals and highway security footage, always alone, always looking over his shoulder. The Miller parents, numb with shock, were questioned again and again. Had they ever noticed changes in Ethan's behavior? Did they suspect any history of mental illness in the family? Had Emily confided any secrets that could explain her final terrified words? Lisa clung to her daughter's diary, desperate to find meaning in the cryptic scribbles. As she flipped through the pages, one entry stood out. Emily had written, "He says we're two halves of the same secret. If I disappear, it's because I know too much." The handwriting shook as if written in fear. Police worked round the clock, sifting through the twins' school records and interviewing their teachers. They learned the rivalry between Ethan and Emily had become an open secret. Whispers of competition, jealousy, and even public outbursts in the school halls. A counselor admitted Emily had scheduled an appointment for the week after her murder. She never made it. Back at police headquarters, the cyber team dug deeper into the anonymous user who had manipulated Ethan online. The trail led to encrypted chat rooms, private forums obsessed with the occult, and twisted discussions about blood bonds and sibling sacrifice. In one message, the user had sent Ethan a chilling command. "To be free, you must be alone. She is the key." A breakthrough came when detectives uncovered a series of old emails on Ethan's account. Years earlier, after the death of the twins' grandfather, Ethan had started showing signs of depression, withdrawal, nightmares, fear of being abandoned. Tom and Lisa admitted they had tried to handle it quietly, afraid of the stigma, never seeking professional help. "We thought he'd grow out of it," Tom whispered. "He was always so close to Emily." Meanwhile, city police received a tip. Someone matching Ethan's description had checked into a cheap motel near the bus depot. Officers rushed to the scene, hearts pounding. In the room, they found Ethan, pale and shivering, surrounded by pages torn from Emily's diary. He didn't resist arrest. Instead, he looked at the detectives and whispered, "You don't understand. It was never just me." At the station, Ethan finally broke his silence. Tears streaked his face as he confessed to everything, the months of torment, the obsession, the fear that Emily would leave him behind. But he insisted again and again. She knew too much. She wanted to run away. They wouldn't let her. They said she was going to ruin everything. When asked who they were, Ethan stared at his hands, mumbling about the online user in voices only he could hear. As the interview ended, he said something that chilled everyone in the room. "Check Mom's attic." Emily left something there. She wanted the truth to come out if anything happened. That night, detectives climbed into the Miller's attic, dust swirling in the beam of their flashlight. In a battered shoebox hidden behind holiday decorations, they found a stack of letters. Everyone in Emily's handwriting, addressed to her parents, her teachers, even the police. The letters detailed months of threats, manipulation, and her fear that someone, maybe even someone in her family, wanted her gone. The last letter, addressed simply to whoever finds this, read, "If you're reading this, something terrible has happened. I tried to warn you. Please don't let my story end with silence." As the detectives read Emily's final words, the phone rang. A forensic tech had finally traced the anonymous online user. The result was worse than anyone imagined. The user was traced to a computer in the Miller house. The revelation that the anonymous online user had been traced to the Miller house hit everyone like a punch to the chest. The detectives returned to the family's home with a warrant, their nerves raw with anticipation. Every device was confiscated. Laptops, tablets, old phones, each one methodically combed for evidence. It didn't take long to find the truth. Hidden deep in the family's old desktop computer was a web of fake profiles, all created from the same IP address. The person who had been messaging Ethan, fueling his paranoia, convincing him that Emily was a threat, was not a stranger at all. It was their father, Tom. Tom broke under questioning. Through trembling lips, he admitted to creating the anonymous profile months earlier, at first to monitor Ethan's depression, then to push him to be stronger. But somewhere along the way, his intentions turned dark. As Ethan grew more unstable, Tom escalated the manipulation, planting the idea that Emily was planning to destroy the family, sending Ethan messages late at night, and twisting the siblings' rivalry into obsession. Tom's actions, he claimed, were meant to protect the family from scandal and to force Ethan to fight for his place. He never imagined it would go this far. But by then, Ethan was isolated, tormented, and desperate to please the voice he thought was his only friend. Lisa, shattered by the revelation, could only sob, clutching Emily's diary and the stack of unread letters from the attic. She had lost her daughter to violence, her son to madness, and now her husband to betrayal so deep it nearly destroyed them all. At Ethan's trial, the full truth came out. The court heard how Tom's manipulation, combined with Ethan's untreated mental health struggles and the twins' toxic rivalry, led to a perfect storm of tragedy. The prosecution called it the ultimate betrayal, a father using his own child as a weapon against another. Ethan was found guilty but was committed to a psychiatric facility instead of prison, the judge citing his father's manipulation as a primary cause. Tom Miller was sentenced for criminal negligence, child endangerment, and obstruction of justice. The story stunned the nation. News anchors called it the case that proved monsters aren't always strangers. They can be living under the same roof. The Miller home became a symbol of silent suffering, a warning that secrets can rot a family from the inside out. In the months after, Lisa moved away, unable to bear the weight of the past. Emily's room was left untouched, her diary now read by millions, her words a cry for help too late to answer. But some questions never faded. If Tom hadn't interfered, could this have been prevented? How many other families live with secrets, never knowing how close they are to disaster? Subscribe for more true crime stories that prove sometimes the real horror is closer than you think.